you guys, welcome back to Hazel Knows Best, and I'm back with another video for y'all. So for today's video, it's gonna be different than the usual. I wanted to bring you guys kind of a story time about me, and I just wanted to be like vulnerable and just open up so you guys can get to know me on my channel. This story is not really easy to discuss, but I just feel like I need to do it because it's therapeutic and it can help somebody else that has dealt with the same issue and someone who has dealt with childhood trauma. So, excuse me guys, I'm sick, so I'm trying to bear in there. So when I was younger, I would say about 8 or 9 or so. Yeah, I think I was like 8 or 9. I might have been a little bit older, but I can't really remember. First of all, I was born and raised in New York, and when we lived out there, we lived in like a big apartment building that had like different section apartments, not a project, but it was a apartment building. And the way that it was laid out was you could walk up to the roof and you could cross over to the next building from one building to the other through the top of the roof. So my uncle used to live on the other building next to me. He wasn't really my blood uncle, but because of the fact that he was my youngest cousin, he was her father, and he basically was just like my uncle. There was no question in that. He loved us, spoiled us, and yeah, like we could do no wrong in his eyes. He used to let us come over, hang out, and we would just hang out, and he let us play toys and all that stuff. And my mom and him were really close. So what, like in New York, it's very dangerous, and the building that we lived in was very dangerous. And like at that time, people, when they would cross over at nighttime, they would get robbed. So every time we would come over, he would walk us back to our apartment, and he would always carry his gun, just for safety precaution. He was licensed to carry, so he would carry with him and you know, take us into our apartment, and we would be safe. And it was only because like when we would come home, it would be not late, but it would be late, that it would be dark and unsafe for us to be just us women, us females by ourselves. It was me, my sister, and my mom. So we would walk across, and for this particular time in the story, I'm sorry, I keep saying a lot. It's really hard because I was really young at the time, and this was something that I kind of put far back in my mind, and it's not something that I talk about all the time, and a lot of people don't know. But this particular time, my family, my grandmother and his baby mom, which is my aunt, and my little cousin had came over to visit us from Puerto Rico. So they came to visit us from Puerto Rico, and like we wanted to show them a good time. So like me and my sister was entertaining my cousin, making sure she was having a good time, letting her play with our toys, and you know, just the basic kid stuff like, you know, coloring and all that stuff. And we went over to my uncle's house, crossed over, and we were hanging out for several hours. And my uncle and my aunt, they were catching up because it had been years since they seen each other. My grandmother was there as well, and yeah, my mom was there as well, and everyone was just hanging out, catching up, and having a good time. And I remember specifically, like, we, during that time, it was like the old school film with the camera. When you would take a picture, you had to wind the film, and we were taking lots of pictures at that time, and just enjoying ourselves. We were there for a couple hours, and then the normal routine, my uncle would walk us back over. So this time he walked us back over, and we all got into our apartment at that time, my mom's apartment. So we were there, we were still hanging out and stuff. And I remember by this time, I would say it had to been like 12, 1 o'clock ish, because it was late. And I remember my sister and my cousin going to sleep, and then I decided to stay up because I was having a difficult time going to sleep. And at that time it was summertime, so it wasn't like it was like you had to go to sleep because school tomorrow. So my mom was very lenient when it came to that, so she let me just stay in the kitchen, and I was just like coloring and stuff, while my aunt, my grandmother, and my uncle and my mom stayed in the kitchen area. We were all in the kitchen while they were all just still catching up and talking and just enjoying each other's conversation. So at this time, I'm still coloring, not really paying them no mind, but just like still just chilling. So at this time, from what I remember, was my uncle had pulled out his gun to show my aunt and my grandma the gun, because they had never seen one in person before. So he took it out, and for safety precaution reasons, he decided to take out the bullets out of the gun, because he didn't feel safe them touching it and carrying it with it being fully loaded. So I'm sorry, I'm sound horrible, but so he took out the bullets out the gun, and he proceeded to show my grandma and my aunt the gun, and my mom as well, the gun and how to properly use it, and just demonstrating how you use it, whatever. So from what I can remember, this is something that I've blocked out for a very long time, so just bear with me. From what I can remember, so the way the kitchen was laid out is a very small apartment building kitchen. It was a standard kitchen, and the way it was laid out was, it was a small window which had the refrigerator on the right, and on the left side it was like the sink and the stove area, and then it was in the wall area right over here, where we were, it was like a small kitchen table area where you could sit, and it's very small, very closed in, triangle shaped type kitchen, very small. So at this time, my grandma and aunt are closer to the window. I think they were just like sitting on the ledge of the window. And my mom was standing up. I remember, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that she was standing up and she was like somewhat in the middle of the kitchen. And then my uncle was in the doorway of the kitchen, like when you would enter. Because it's so small, like we all were trying to like stay in our space, but we were somewhat close enough that everyone knows what they're talking about. And then I was sitting down at the dining room table coloring. So my uncle, not knowing, he had left a bullet in the gun that he was demonstrating in. He didn't know. He thought that he had took all the bullets out and it was safe to demonstrate with. But he had put the gun to his head, demonstrating how you would use it, and then he pulled the trigger thinking it was safe to pull, and he ended up shooting himself in front of all of us by accident. And sorry if I'm just like blanking out, it's just like picturing it all over again. So then I had looked up, and all that I can see, I'm like 8-9 years old, was something very scary and very traumatizing. All I could see was like him. He was staring at us in shock, like with the shock face. He had the shock face and he like fell down to his knees and then just like collapsed. And then like my mom was freaking out and my aunt was like screaming. My grandma was in shock. I didn't really hear her much. She was just like crying or whatever. And like, so my aunt was so in shock and so terrified, and she was screaming at the top of her lungs that she like forgot we even had a house phone. And like she ran, we were in the top floor. She ran all the way down to the bottom of the building and used the payphone to call the ambulance. And she'd have managed to like pee on herself while she was running down. And my mom, she was like freaking out, like trying to like, I don't really remember what she was doing. I felt like she was just like freaking out, like trying to like get him to talk or whatever, or trying to see if like he was okay, or trying to see if he had any type of response. But it was like it just happened so fast. And then I think she like woke all of us up and just because grabbed my cousin, my sister, and me, and like took us all out of the apartment and took us downstairs while we waited for the ambulance to come. And then all I can remember is like looking up. Mind you, I'm a child. I'm 8 or 9 years old. I might have been younger than that, but I think I was around the age, no more than like 10 at the most. And I remember looking up at the apartment as the detectives and stuff came. And we can't go anywhere because we have to wait for our apartment to be cleared for us to enter back in. So it's like really cold outside and we're just hanging out and just waiting. And the way that the apartment building was, it was like, it was the apartment building, then it was an alley, and then across from that alley was a store, and that store corner store. It had a payphone in front of it, so that's where we were standing at. But it wasn't like a big alleyway. It was like a small street type of small gap. But we were looking. Well, I remember I was looking up at the apartment. All I could see was the flashing lights of them taking pictures. And then I don't remember them removing the body or anything because I blanked all that out. But I do remember the detectives like questioning me and my sisters and them and like my mom in the car. It's very hard to talk about it because I considered him to be kind of like a godparent. He treated us very good, like we were his own kids, and he would give us the shirt off his back. He was a great guy, and he always like made sure we were good. He, provided us with food and like toys, clothes, whatever he think we needed. He always gave it to us, and he was amazing. So I remember it had to been like we were literally outside all night because it had to been like 6 or 7 in the morning when they finally cleared our apartment for us to enter. And I remember like I think my grandmother and my aunt and them left immediately. I just felt like they couldn't handle what happened, so I remember them just leaving right away because at this point, this is what I remember. Once our apartment was cleared for us to enter, right in the doorway of the kitchen, because of the way it was set up, it was like as soon as you came into the apartment, you would see the doorway of the kitchen like right on your right. You couldn't miss it. And then it was like the bathroom, and then on the left it would be the apartment. I mean the bedrooms and stuff. And all I could see was this big puddle of blood on the floor that they did not remove or clean. And then I remember my mom having to be that person to clean it up. And that's all I can remember from that. I do remember that I don't know if people are like skeptics or they don't believe in signs and like auras or things of that nature, but I do remember, and I don't think my mom even still has any of these photos, but when we developed the film of that night and we took a look at it, the whole night when we looked at these pictures, the whole night, every time we took pictures around my uncle, there was this white cloud around him on all the pictures. And the pictures of us by ourselves without him being present were perfectly fine. But all his pictures had this white cloud around it. Not like any like ghost face or anything like that. It was like a cloud. I don't know how else to express it. Like, you ever seen like when someone takes a picture of someone smoking, you'll see the cloud in the picture. It was kind of like that, but no one was smoking. It was this cloud around his pictures, and I don't know if that was like a sign that something was gonna like ahead of time what's gonna happen to him. Like, there was, you know what I mean? Like a known thing. It's very weird. But my mom was very scared for me, because I witnessed that very young, and um, it did traumatize me a little bit. I don't really remember much because I blocked a lot of it out afterwards. But it's something to this day that I remember very vividly. So I just want to say RIP to my uncle. It was accidental. He didn't mean to do it in front of us. And his face, I would never forget his face and the shock that he had when he realized what he did to himself in front of us. I just wanted to bring this story. I know it's kind of gruesome and it's like weird, but I wanted to bring this story to my channel to, it's kind of like an onion and peeling layers of myself. It's therapeutic to me because it's things that I don't normally discuss on a day-to-day basis, or friends and certain family members don't know what I've experienced. But I just want you to know that if you dealt with a childhood trauma, something that tainted your childhood in some type of way, just know that you're not alone. And if you guys have any stories or positive messages, please feel free to leave them down below in the comments. And I always check my messages. And I want to thank you guys for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not. I don't drop every single day, but I do my best to extend myself when I'm in my most creative stages. So thank you guys for watching.